Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to another YouTube video, and today's video is going to be a really good video. I'm going to try to keep it short, but basically we're going to be working on something that's very well known for the b58 platform, which is oil filter housing. Over time, you know, when mileage and overheat cycles and all that stuff kind of corrodes the OEM one that's made of plastic, and it causes these gaskets on the inside right here to end up leaking. Or sometimes I've seen a couple online where the actual plastic housing itself even failed. So on today's video, we're going to be installing an upgraded aluminum one that I got online, and since I'm at it, I decided to change some hoses. There's nothing wrong with these hoses. I'm just going to go ahead and get them replaced since I'm at it already, and I'm also upgrading the connector to an aluminum one because this is also known to fail over time because the original one is also made of plastic. I don't know why BMW keeps making plastic parts when they know that they can fix the issue, but I'm sure they do it on purpose so they can have people coming back to, like, you know, maintain their car. But basically we got a bit of a head start already. All you gotta do is pretty much, it's really simple if you really think about it. It's just a lot of work. The first thing you gotta do is pretty much drain your coolant. First of all, is your number one thing, and then you gotta remove your intake manifold. I have a billet one, so it's a lot easier in my application. But if you're gonna be removing your billet or intake manifold, you have to remove a couple wirings and stuff like that that's connected over here. But I don't have any of those things. We got the throttle body removed already, which is right here, and then yeah, so we're moving slowly. Today it's gonna be a 2-day thing in my opinion. I mean, we can probably knock it out in like a day, honestly, but I'm not trying to do that. I want to take my time, really get familiar with this, and make sure we do everything right and perfect. So yeah, so this is where we are right now. I'm gonna pick up the camera again once we have the intake manifold removed, just so we can get a head start. Again, I'm trying to keep this video short. For you guys, it might be like a 20-minute long video, but it's gonna be 2 days worth of work. So we're gonna be draining the coolant first and removing the intake manifold. So I'll pick the camera back up when this whole manifold is removed. Guys, it's been roughly 15 minutes. The intake manifold is removed, which is all right here. Basically, it's pretty self-explanatory. Just remove them, and then, you know, my injectors, I kept them in here. This is for my PI, but this is how we're looking like right now. It's always a good idea to mask this off, just to prevent anything from debris from falling into your valves or anything like that. But I did end up cleaning it up a little bit. That's why my thing looks kind of clean. It was a lot dirtier before this. But what we're gonna be changing is pretty much this connector hose right here. So we're going to be removing this hose that, if you follow, it goes all the way and it connects to the front of this radiator. And we already removed the coolant reservoir overflow to get some pressure out. So essentially this hose is the one that I am replacing, which is right here. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just one of those things where I just want to replace it because it leads to the middle of the engine bay, and it's just like this area is prone to fail over time. So surprisingly, mine is still looking good, but you know, it's better off to be safe than sorry. And then we're gonna be removing this hose right here. It's just a clamp right there. You remove it and boom, the thing comes out. And then the oil filter housing is pretty much this mechanism right here. It's a little tight if you look at it. You're kind of like, what the heck am I looking at? But it's pretty self-explanatory. Once I have this hose removed, it's gonna make everything 10 times easier. So we're just working on trying to get this removed. We're having a little bit of an issue. It's being a little bit of a, you know, tight one, but we're gonna get it out regardless. So yeah. Okay, so we finally got this hose removed. You can follow right here. This whole thing is pretty much what's moving. It's funny enough, this thing actually broke off from where the connector is, but luckily I got a new hose because I had a guy recently on Facebook that I seen that it failed in the same exact spot, and it just blew up and it just failed. It just completely came off. Luckily, I have a brand new one right here from BMW, along with an aluminum upgraded, which is basically what we're replacing is this whole unit right here. So this is gonna look like this. It's gonna look nice and pretty, and it's gonna be bulletproof. I don't have to worry about it for many more years to come. And if I ever do sell it, it's a big perk for the new owner, especially how this car, keep in mind guys, has over 118,000 miles. Motor's been solid. I like to take care of it, like you know, I like to do my maintenance just like this. All right, so it's been a couple, maybe like an hour or so. We finally got the oil filter housing removed, and so is the coolant. Here is the difference. That's the reason why I'm upgrading it, right? clearly. It's obvious. It's just this one's better compared to the plastic one. I'm transferring over the OEM gaskets right now. These are brand new OEM gaskets into this one. It comes with gaskets, but a lot of people say to not trust these because, you know, at the end of the day, it's just Chinese stuff. This is the original one that was bad. You can kind of see what's leaking down here. Ooh. You can see what was leaking from. It was leaking from a lot down here. So somewhere around here is a mid-failure. This wasn't too bad, honestly. The gaskets, it look okay. In some areas, like for example, like right here, you can't even see it, but that's a gasket right there, guys. But it's so flat right here, you can't even see it, like in this area. So other than that, that's the only thing we gotta swap over, and we gotta swap over this check valve over here. So yeah, but we'll go ahead and get that started on swap over. So okay, then fast forward like what, an hour or two. I think last time I showed you guys I got the oil filter housing out. There's a little check valve that you're supposed to swap out like I was talking about. This is it. It's actually inside here. You have to go through here, and from the outside it sits like right in the middle, like right there, just like that, right? The aluminum one comes in is not good because the spring is a little too strong that they provide, and the OEM one is more forgiving, so it kind of allows oil to kind of flow through. So all you gotta do is just pop it out using like flathead or Phillips or whatever. Super easy. This is how it's looking right now. We finally got this one installed. This is the upgraded aluminum connector and the oil filter housing. It's just resting on here, like it still wiggles. There's no bolts attached to it. But if I got it in, we learned that the hardware that the new one comes with are too big, or not too big, but like the socket size for this torque is kind of like too big of a size to fit compared to what we were using originally. So we're swapping all of them out from the original ones, which is right here. They're not torqued to like crazy specs. It's just hand torqued, to be honest. So they're not warped or anything like that. They still look solid. They're the same length and everything. So the only thing different is that the OEM one has like a little rounded pointed tip, or the aftermarket one has a flat tip, right? I'm gonna clean these up, put some anti-seize on it to prevent them from stripping. That's the last thing. I'm gonna try my best to get them tightened up right now. Okay, so it's clearly daytime now, the next day. We're just about getting ready to put everything back. We're putting the manifold in next. Oh, there's coolant everywhere. They're putting the manifold back in next. I just have to replace the O-rings on these injectors. You don't have to do that, but I always like to change them just because of peace of mind. But that's going back in. I put the DME back in already, so it's all nice and tidied up down here. But just a closer look of how it's looking like. Everything is all connected. I just have to put the one coolant hole that goes here, because this goes to the intake manifold right here, and then this connects to the other one. Is still connected onto the manifold. You kind of see it right there, still hanging down. That one's gonna loop around. It's gonna connect to here. This is not related to the oil filter housing job, but I ended up fixing my stubborn coolant leak that I've ever had on my coolant return or feed line. So I ended up just cutting it, putting a new fitting in there just to fix it for my turbo. Yeah, honestly, I can't wait. I also changed my serpentine belt since I was already at it. Just in case if you guys are interested, this is the one I use for my car. What's it called? Serpentine belt is in, and yeah, we're gonna start putting everything back. I'm gonna pick up the camera again when everything's fully back in before we bleed the coolant and all that good stuff. So it's a mess in here, man. Look at this table. We try to keep everything in this table, but there's coolant stains on the floor, or it's coolant over there. I just have to drain out the oil since it's kind of almost due for my oil change. So I went ahead and ended up buying new oil and 3 gallons of, or not gallons, I think they're like 5 quarts or something. So 3 batches of coolant, and then yeah, we're looking good so far, guys. So pick it up on the camera. So that's how it looks like. Wait, I'm gonna do that magic trick. Let me see. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we're just about doing a bleeding procedure right now. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but that's pretty much the electronic water pump that's in there, that's turned on. To do the bleeding procedure, you have to bleed it twice, or two types, right? This big reservoir is for the block pretty much, and this is pretty much for the heat exchanger / manifold. We're doing the manifold first, and then we're gonna do the block, because to bleed the block, you have to turn on a car, right? To do the bleeding procedure is pretty simple. You gotta put the car in on position, right? Just press the on button once. Put the headlights on. Just turn on the headlights right here. Turn on your hazards, and then what you want to do is you want to put your lowest heat setting, or highest heat setting, I meant, but lowest fan speed with AC and automatic on. And then you want to go ahead, when all those are pressed in and all that, as you can see, you want to go ahead and just press the accelerator button like all the way to the floor for 15 seconds. And while you're holding it, after 15 seconds, you would hear this sound. Oh, you can't really hear it anymore. It's but it's basically a little motor fan in there that's it turns on. And what happens, before you start the procedure, you want to make sure this is filled up to the top, because as soon as it starts it, it'll literally go down, suck up everything, and let it running. You can kind of hear it. So that's pretty much the car bleeding itself. You want to do that. You want to do this method about 3 times. Each time is about 10 minutes long. I know it takes a while, but you basically keep doing that over and over again until you notice that the fan is no longer kind of like changing tone. It's just constantly the same. That's how you know it's kind of done. And what you want to do after that, you want to turn it off and turn it back on again, and then put it on position. Don't fully turn it on. And then you want to go ahead and redo the whole procedure, and you want to let the car do that 3 times. And then after that, once this is all bled, we're going to move on to bleeding the block. And essentially how to do it is pretty much do the whole method like this. What you want to do is you just want, after it's all done, you just want to turn on a car. And what happened is the car would start and idle at like 2,000 RPM, and it'll just let it kind of bleed through there. And you want to make sure you're keeping an eye on the coolant reservoir, because as the car is turned on, it's sucking up a lot of coolant. So you want to make sure you want to have coolant on standby like this, constantly filling it up. But yeah, you can kind of see that the coolant is, like moving around. It's all like hazy and everything because it's being mixed up, while this one is still kind of clear. So we're gonna be moving on to this later on. But right now everything's all buttoned up. Looks like a mess right now, but turbo is all installed with the coolant line right there that I was talking about earlier. The manifold's back in, plugged in all my sensors necessary. And this is a great time actually to kind of clean up around your engine bay when your manifold's out. It's kind of what I did, and went ahead and zip tied some stuff that I kind of wanted zip tied just to make sure it's nice and secure. Don't mind the mess right now. I usually have an engine bay cover. Filled it up with oil and everything, and yeah, so you want to make sure you check for leaks or anything. But so far underneath the car, there's no leaks. Nice and dry, except for that. That's just from him spilling it. But other than that, we're gonna check back with you when the car is running. So what I'm doing now, guys, we just put on a car. This is part of the procedure when it comes to doing the bleeding procedure. You want to basically do the whole coolant bleed thing, and once you hear the electronic water pump turn on, you want to turn on the car right away after that. And you will notice that the car would idle at 1100 RPMs or so. That's how you know that your coolant is bleeding, or that you're in a bleeding procedure. And what happens is, you basically just want to rev it up to like 2K, 3K or so like that, and just hold it still, and then let go. And you want to keep doing that over and over again. You rev it up, hold it, and then let go. Rev it up, hold it, let go. And you want to, and then basically you can see that he's adding coolant. You want to keep the reservoir open, and he's going to keep adding coolant because it's going to be sucking it up. And once you're all done with the procedure, basically I recommend having coolant with you, and just go for a drive, go like 5-10 minute drive, and then pull over, go to a gas station, check on the coolant, and just top it off. So you just want to make sure you're keeping an eye on your coolant level. Just keep topping it off if you have to, but this is pretty much a must before you turn it on. So we're going to be doing this procedure pretty much a couple of times. So yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and just keep doing the procedure, and I'll pick the camera back up once everything's done and the car's on the floor. All right, so the car is all done. Put everything back together. The manifold's plugged in. You can see that I have a brand new serpentine belt, but I do need to get a tensioner because you can kind of see how it's moving, right? So that just means that the tensioner is not strong enough anymore. So it's recommended to get an upgraded tensioner. So that's definitely something that I'm going to be ordering like right now, just so I don't have to worry about that thing. What else? Coolant is all good now. No leaks. So yeah, so right now what I'm gonna be doing is pretty much keeping an eye on the car, keeping an eye on the coolant levels and everything, and go for a drive, let everything kind of break in. I'm keeping an eye on my phone, on the MHD software to make sure that it's up to date and make sure that all pressure and all that stuff is all like good and everything. So other than that, she's all done. The job wasn't too bad. It took about like 4.5 hours last night of straight going at it, and then we kind of stopped halfway point and kind of finished the rest today. So other than that, appreciate you guys for watching. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I'm always open to answering my DMs all the time. So the car is back, all the major maintenance is done, so ready for more, an extra 100k miles in my book. So yeah, so the only thing next in mine I gotta do is just the serpentine belt tensioner. That's all I gotta get next. But appreciate you guys for watching again. Until next time, peace.